Hey, are you one of those wads that has a problem?
Problem?
With kids being gay?
Queer? 1 out of 3 queer kids have tried to kill themselves.
If I grow up to be lesbo,
If I grew up gay,
do you want me to get gay bashed?
then listen up, haters.
Also, straight talk on gay bashing bullies.
Hey kids, it's hate! Bullies!
You're anti-gay?
Think kids choose to be that way?
So where the do kids learn to hate?
Number 1!
At school.
9 out of every 10 queer kids are bullied, beaten, and bashed. Bullied, beaten, and bashed.
Number 2.
Let's go to church.
Jesus loves little children.
Just not the gay ones. If I am gay, God made me that way.
Preaching up hate has a lot to do with the suicide rate.
Number 3!
Kids rejected by their parents are 8 times more likely to try to kill themselves.
You bully your kid, you bury your kid. Hey, don't be hating on the homos.
Number 4!
Your anti-gay votes.
Help slit their throats.
You take away their right to marry, serve, and adopt? And you're surprised when they take their lives?
Fuck you, ballot box bullies!
Don't f with queer kids.
You called my son a faggot?
I will f you up.
Put you in a motherfucking headlock and noogie your motherfucking ass.
If a dude's my prom date,
If a chick's my prom date,
That's great.
I'm gay.
I'm straight.
And we're standing together to
Okay, across the country,
Queer kids are under attack by bullies.
so many are taking their lives.
So we're taking a stand.
With respect to the issue of whether gays and lesbians should be able to get married, I've spoken about this recently. As I've said, my feelings about this are constantly evolving. I struggle with this. I have friends, I have people who work for me who are in powerful, strong, long-lasting gay or lesbian unions. And they are extraordinary people. And this is something that means a lot to them and they care deeply about. At this point, what I've said is that my baseline is a strong civil union that provides them the protections and the legal rights that married couples have. And I think that, and I think that's the right thing to do. But I recognize that from their perspective it is not enough. And I think this is something that we're going to continue to debate, and I personally am going to continue to wrestle with going forward.
But the military does not recognize
I understand.
Unions, right?
And as I said, this is going to be an issue that is not unique to the military. This is an issue that extends to all of our society, and I think we're all going to have a conversation about it.
Do you support, as they do in Alaska, granting same-sex benefits to couples?
Absolutely. Do I support granting same-sex benefits? Absolutely, positively. Look, in an Obama-Biden administration, there will be absolutely no distinction from a constitutional standpoint or a legal standpoint between a same-sex and a heterosexual couple. The fact of the matter is that under the Constitution, we should be granted, same-sex couples should be able to have visitation rights in the hospitals, joint ownership of property, life insurance policies, etc. That's only fair. It's what the Constitution calls for. And so we do support we do support making sure that committed couples in the same-sex marriage are guaranteed the same constitutional benefits as it relates to their property rights, their rights of visitation, their rights of insurance, their rights of ownership, as heterosexual couples do.
Governor, would you support expanding that beyond Alaska to the rest of the nation?
Well, not if it goes closer and closer towards redefining the traditional definition of marriage between one man and one woman. And unfortunately, that's sometimes where those steps lead. But I also want to clarify if there's any kind of suggestion at all from my answer that I would be anything but tolerant of adults in America choosing their partners, choosing relationships that they deem best for themselves. You know, I am tolerant, and I have a very diverse family and group of friends, and even within that group you would see some who may not agree with me on this issue, some very dear friends who don't agree with me on this issue. But in that tolerance also, no one would ever propose, not in a McCain-Palin administration, to do anything to prohibit, say, visitations in a hospital or contracts being signed, negotiated between parties. But I will tell Americans straight up that I don't support defining marriage as anything but between one man and one woman. And I think through nuances we could go round and round about what that actually means. But I'm being as straight up with Americans as I can in my non-support for anything but a traditional definition of marriage.
Let's try to avoid nuance, Senator. Do you support gay marriage?
No. Barack Obama nor I support redefining from a civil side what constitutes marriage. We do not support that. That is basically a decision to be able to be left to the faiths and people who practice their faith, the determination what you call it. The bottom line, though, is, and I'm glad to hear the governor, I take her at her word, obviously, that she thinks there should be no civil rights distinction, none whatsoever, between a committed gay couple and a committed heterosexual couple. If that's the case, we really don't have a difference.
Is that what you said?
Your question to him was whether he supported gay marriage, and my answer is the same as his, and it is that I do not.
Wonderful. You agree. On that note, let's move to foreign policy.